New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Cynthia, Rev Julie, and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to the High Vibe Hour. I'm Reverend Cynthia.
I'm Reverend Julie Moret. Very nice to be with you today. Rev Skip Jennings is preparing for some classes right now, so Rev Cynthia and I are at the helm today.
Oh my goodness, this has been so much fun already. So I'm really looking forward to our time together today. And as usual, we begin with raising the vibe. What are we doing to raise the vibe? So Reverend Julie, how have you been raising the vibe?
Okay, so I really love this because we like to start this High Vibe Hour by saying how we're raising the vibe. And to be completely transparent, I really don't feel like I am right now. But here's the good news. In any moment, we have the opportunity to change our state. So I'm entering from a place of, I've been dealing with a lot of things today. I've been moving around really quickly. I'm learning new technology. And so when I first thought of that, like, how are you raising the vibe? I'm thinking like, I'm not, but we can. So I'm going to invite you to jump in and do this with me right now, that we can really, no matter what your day has been like before, what you're going into, in an instant, we can change our state. And so if you feel like it, I'm going to invite you to join in with a breath. Just a nice, slow, easy breath. Maybe breathing in through your nose if that's comfortable, slow and deep and easy and relaxed. And on the exhale, just releasing. And as you breathe in again, this time on the exhale, maybe let something go. If there's a worry or a thing or a to-do or whatever, you can pick it up later. But how about for now, just like, and I like a little sound because that reverberation sort of breaks up any coagulated energy or emotions. It helps us become more fluid. So one more time, breathing in. And you can even place your hands on your lower dantian. That's the area just below the belly button. A lot of times when people are feeling nervous or something, they automatically put their hands on their belly or their solar plexus, which is right above the belly button. And so I'm just noticing that even as I do these things, I'm returning to my strength. I'm returning to my power. And so from this place of breath and releasing and letting go whatever does not serve, the way that I'm going to raise the vibe in this very moment is I'm going to become a stand for peace on earth. That's a tall order. And I'm going to do that by getting an image, and I invite you to do the same. Getting an image in your mind's eye of, begin to glorify any area of humanity in this moment. Just see it as you do desire, as opposed to what you do not desire. So seeing peace in different areas of the world right now, seeing peace in our own homes right now, seeing ease and grace and flow, getting a sense and a feeling tone. Maybe it's easier to start with yourself, seeing yourself kind of jump to a state of you fully realized, you being a participant in the world. Get a feeling. I'm getting a sense, I'm remembering myself right now. I'm getting a sense of me being, on stage speaking and having a presence that is filled with energy and healing and love. Remembering my power. It's so easy to get sidetracked by the world. And so I invite you in this moment to get an image in your mind's eye of yourself fully realized, fully formed in a way that serves yourself and then contributes. That's how I am raising the vibe right now, by remembering myself. That's the invitation, to take a moment and remember your true self, not the part of us that sometimes is just like surviving or getting by. And so it's from this place that I emanate a blessing for each one tuning in, streaming, knowing that right where you are, the very presence of God has got your back, front, side, middle, all of you, that right where you are held and loved and known. And I invite each one to just scoop yourself up in a big hug, to be the recipient of love and support, and allow it to be. So I'm really grateful for that question, Cynthia, because I honestly didn't feel like I was raising the vibe. And just in that moment to like turn it around and to see what's possible feels really good, really good. So I hope that it's received on that end. And how about you? How are you raising the vibe?
And well, fortunately for me, I just got to go through that experience with you. And again, there was like a calming down that occurred when you brought us into that lower space of the abdomen. It was almost like a collecting of my energy. If it was dispersed, it was like it brought it home. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
And there are no accidents. This morning began with me asking something similar. I usually do something in the morning as part of my spiritual practice to start the day off on the right foot or in the, in a high vibratory state. This morning I did something I've never done before. I went to Reverend Michael's YouTube channel, and then I hit scroll like I was spinning the wheel. And wherever it stopped, I said, that's the one I'm going to watch.
Oh, wow.
Right, for inspiration. And of course, his talk that morning was, you're not just here for the experiences, you're here to share your gifts.
Mm.
And as I stepped into the kitchen and was preparing like a cup of coffee, based on his words, I experienced a version of myself. I was trying to tap into that version of myself that is ready to share more of her gifts. Ooh. So the exercise that you just brought us through felt very much like a continuation of this morning for me.
Do you feel like sharing, or is that like, are you holding it sacred right now? Like, what's you fully realized? Are there any hits or feeling tones, anything you want to claim, or you want to let it brew?
Well, and I feel like it's still brewing, but it does feel like there's a second book that wants to be shared.
Yeah.
Because that to me felt like that was me sharing the experiences that I had walked through.
Yes.
And now from this new place of being, what are the gifts that I want to share with people?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Say your book title again.
So the one that was already written was called Life Finds a Way, a journey of returning to wholeness is what it's called.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful because your first book, Life Finds a Way, it really tells your story. And I mean, you've been through a thing or two. It's like incredible how much you've gone through, like trauma, like real trauma. And you're here and you're shining and you're bright. So it's like imperative that there be the next book, that comes from like, so this is what happens when you do the work and you breathe and you do the work and you do the work and you do the work and you keep doing the work. And then, yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting to see what this next book will be, what wants to come through for sure.
And had there not been like a healing of all of that, there's no way that I would be able to have these wonderful, new, amazing experiences like today with you.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, it comes from, boy, I think that anybody listening right now knows what it feels like to be in the trenches, like in the roughest of rough. And so to just have that reminder that the only way through it is through it. The only way through it is through it. We all try to go around, up, over, like, can I pole vault over this thing that's uncomfortable that I don't like? But there's support. And that's what the High Vibe Hour is for. This is an opportunity for us to come together. We've got really good, I'm a tools and practices girl. I love any kind of doable, usable practice to help me remember or awaken or heal. So there'll be a lot of practices that we'll be playing with, and just to have these, it's almost like guardrails, or like when a kid goes bowling, or an adult goes, or I go bowling, and they put up those things on the side of the alley. Like I want to be that for people. And I feel like, we are that in a lot of ways. We're like, here, let me like help set up some support beams for you as you're moving through whatever it is. And so I'm really excited that we have this opportunity to come together, and I invite those listening to really answer that question yourself. Like, how are you raising the vibe right now? And if you're feeling like I was feeling when we started, because I'm already like been there, done that. I'm over how I started, right? I started from a place of feeling like, oh, I'm not. And then just within a few moments, I'm like back in myself. And so I would invite you, as you're listening, to become aware, like, how are you raising the vibe? And it could be by, making a nurturing meal for somebody, or if you're raising people or taking care of people, or the smile, that you give the person that you pass by, or it could be a decision you make right now, right? Like even just thinking a kind thought about somebody else, not a worry about somebody else, but a kind thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
So many amazing tools. I can't wait to get into it more deeply with you.
Yes. Yeah.
So why don't we start the next part, which is called True Talk. So for this segment, we're going to be looking at stepping into your yes. And Reverend Julie is going to start us off.
Yeah. So I'd like to speak a little bit to stepping into your yes in like a very comfortable, easy, prepared, pre-planned kind of way. Like when there's something you want to do, what are the great ways to get organized for it? But also there are times that, I know Rev Cynthia and I, and I'm sure Skip as well, sometimes you get your butt kicked, and it's like, okay, this is the moment. Leap or forever wish I had. There are those moments when you kind of jump into a yes, or fall into a yes, or just like do a Hail Mary into a yes. And so I think it'd be great to discuss all the ways. And the first way is that I'm going to speak about when you are like preparing in a leisurely way for your yes. This is like spiritual practice. The more we have our spiritual practice, it becomes kind of a reflexive thing, so that when life happens, and life is always happening, life is always lifing, that we have these practices in place already. We have a level of resiliency already. And so what I'm speaking to right now is neuroemotional technique, which is ways that we can soothe out that survival brain. And at this point, I think everybody's heard about the survival brain. It's very important. If you happen to be wandering through an African savanna and a lion starts to size you up for lunch, you want to have a good survival instinct, like run, fight, right? But where survival brain becomes a weight on our growth, where it becomes an impediment, is when we live in a chronic state of survival, which is very easy to do because we are fed through media, through religion, sometimes through family, sometimes through education. Sometimes there's like a constant feeding of worry and fear and doubt. And so it creates this like low grade survival thing. And so for me, because I know what it is to live in a low grade or not so low grade survival state, I've really had to learn ways to soothe out my survival system. And so in the next half hour, I think we'll dive a little more fully so that we can all have an experience of what it is. Some of the things are, and this is great if you're a parent or you have anybody that you're in relationship with, it's really great to know when somebody else is in a survival mode and how you can be with them in a way that helps to like bring them, soothe them some. I would talk about my son, but he's right next door, so I won't give him as an example right now. If he goes away, I will.
Yeah.
But, but the first thing, if you find, and by survival it means like when we're panicking, when we go into fight, flight, freeze, or appease, when you have a response to a situation that is out of proportion with that experience, it's like somebody closes the door and you're like, wow, why did you close that door? Then maybe there's something else going on. So some nice tools for soothing out that survival brain are, you want to tend to yourself or the person's physical needs. Make sure that if it's hot, they are able to cool down a bit, that there's a way to cool off, take off a layer, get a fan or something, get into the shade. If it's cold, you want to like get a blankie or something to get the body temperature warmed up. That's a really important way. Like if you've ever watched, any of those like 911 rescue TV shows, when somebody's gone through a traumatic event, what do? They put a blanket on them. You want to soothe down that central nervous system. You want to soothe that survival reactivity. And so, another thing is tending to like a nice warm beverage or a cool beverage if it's really hot, having kind of yummy, nourishing food. It's not really the time for like raw veggies necessarily. You want some like comforting food. You want to, when the survival brain, maybe like a swift breath in through the nose, like how we started. I was having some survival reactivity when we started this. And so the swift breath in through the nose and then slow out through slightly parted lips. All of these things are ways to like settle, be here now, be in this moment. And when we're in this moment and we soothe out that survival reactivity, that allows us to feel, what am I really feeling? And so with regulating our emotions, that's become a very popular thing to say in the last few years. What does that really mean? It means noticing, what am I actually feeling? Naming it, and then touching into it in some way. So I'm going to invite you, as you're listening right now, just to notice right now, how are you feeling? What emotions are there? Dr. Dan Siegel says felt feelings flow on. So it's not about doing anything. You can't fix a feeling, but when you notice it, it gives it the freedom. The body doesn't have to hold it because they're like, oh, she's paying attention. They're paying attention. He's paying attention. So just acknowledge in this moment, what am I feeling? And then naming it, and then to touch into it in some way. So you could, whatever the feeling is, notice where in the body. If you could notice where it is in the body, where might that be? And then maybe you breathe into it. Maybe you put a hand over that area. So these are some of like the luxurious ways to be able to saunter into my yes. Because once my survival system is soothed and my emotions are regulated, then I'm able to pop into a clear thinking, executive, creative brain state. From that state, I could be like, yeah, let's do whatever. But Rev Cynthia, what happens when life is like, okay, go?
And before we go into that, you said, I think I heard you say fight, flight, fright. And did you say appease?
Fight, flight, freeze, or appease. So fight is when somebody's in survival mode, they're ready to pick a fight at anything. It's like you take a breath and I'm enraged, not you personally, another fictitious person. Flight is like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. Bye. And then the person's gone. Freeze is just like deer in the headlights. Like if I just stay here and don't do anything, maybe it will pass. And appease is like, oh, it's okay. I don't mind. You can blah, 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 and I'll just go along with it. That's all right. Just, that's appeasing.
Okay. So
wait, let me just do something with that. So as you're listening, we all can do all of them, but like, what's your favorite to you as you are listening? And jump in on the chat. We'd love to hear some feedback. So let us know what you're thinking. Jump on the chat. Let us know. And just take a moment to kind of connect in and notice what is my go-to thing.
And that's what like stood out for me, because yes, I'm familiar with the fight, the freeze, the flight, but I didn't realize that my appeasing tendency fell under that umbrella.
It does, my dear. It does. It just seems like a little more like societally correct, or, it's less frowned upon than the person who rages. But, they're the same thing. I'm going to say one little piece here. I had a friend who was having an issue with their parents, and one of the parents is like a rageaholic, so it's very easy to point a finger at that person. And then my friend was saying, well, oh, but the dad is such a nice guy. And my immediate thought was, no, not a nice guy, because he allows crazy to happen under his roof. He appeases the crazy. So, one is a little more, acceptable on the appearance, but they all have the downsides. And so it's really good to know of ourselves, what's my tendency? And even like, I think you're going to speak to what happens when we jump into our yes. And how do you jump into your yes, even when fight, flight, freeze, or appease are like knocking at the door?
Right, exactly. Which is likely, how I've had to operate the last couple of years. Stepping into my yes, even when fear is present.
Right.
And so one of the things I would do is I would try to kid myself or fool myself, trick myself by saying, maybe this isn't fear, maybe this is excitement.
Uh-huh.
And maybe it was both, right? Maybe they were both simultaneously present.
Mm-hmm.
There was a part of me that was excited about stepping into something new, but then there was the old me that was like, but don't go there, it's not safe, it's unknown.
Right.
Right? So a couple of things have happened. I'm one of those people that initially, a couple of years back, especially when I started ministerial studies 5 years ago, and public speaking was one of my biggest fears, and maybe it is for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But add trauma to that, and how it had been safer to hide, and here I'm being asked to step out right into the spotlight. So it would set off all of these alarms for me. And actually, when I got invited to sign up for ministerial studies, my immediate reaction was, no, there's no way. And I went hiking to Sedona, to Cathedral Rock, and it just so happened that a storm appeared out of nowhere, thunderous clouds, and I ended up getting stuck on the mountain for 6 hours fighting with God. Because I was saying no, and God was saying, oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. And I finally got down from the mountain 6 hours later, exhausted, got to my hotel room. And that night I had a dream with Reverend Michael, and Reverend Michael showed up and said, as you walk, you will heal. Now, mind you, the first reason why I ended up in these teachings was because I was looking to heal a medical condition to begin with. And I said, please don't tell me that I have to become a minister to heal the condition. And when I got up that morning, my hip went out of place. I still wasn't at my yes. So when I came home from Sedona and I finally said, fine, and I filled out the application and I submitted it, my hip went back into place.
Wow. That's so big. That's so big.
So there have been times when I've had to have that gigantic push, right, for my own good, to bring me into alignment with what it is that I'm here to do, and to push me through the fear, even when the fear was very present.
Yeah. That makes me wonder, for those listening right now, like, is there a yes? Is there the desire for a yes knocking at your door? Because usually we know, like, I think I shared this last time. I have counseled hundreds of people, thousands when you consider like group settings. And the humbling truth is, we know. We all tend to know what we need, what we want. And I've just spent a lot of time like searching around for the experts to tell me, like the professional to tell me, but we know. So I'm thinking, as you're listening right now, is there something that wants a yes in your life? And do you want to play with that too? Like we don't have to say it out loud, but just to think right now, like what wants a yes? And even if there's fear, maybe that's the first step, is acknowledging it. What do you think? Just giving it like an internal yes. And then because thought plus emotion equals creation, like, so this is a good idea. So get an image if there's something that you're thinking of that you want, how about we get an image of it in our mind's eye? Big, beautiful, bold. Get feeling tone. The feeling is the secret sauce. Make it so compelling. Whatever it is that you desire right now, wrap it up, scoop it up in the feeling. And then maybe taking a full deep breath, and then as though you're like seeing the image, make it brighter, 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 clearer, clearer, amp up the feeling tone. You fully realized, fully evolved. Take a breath, hold it, hold it, hold it. And then exhale. And then one more time, get an image, you full tilt, all in, shining, bright, brilliant, doing what you came here to be, answering that yes in a bold way. Make it bright, clear, brilliant. Hold, 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 hold. Let it go. So what's it been like for you since you jumped into your yes?
It felt like a resetting of the nervous system so that it's supportive of it to me.
Yeah. And do you find that the universe like has your back when you give it a yes? Like it could still be scary and there could definitely be a learning curve.
Yes.
But have you found, yeah.
I do. I feel that the second that we come into alignment with like our soul purpose, our soul calling, our life purpose, whatever it is that we're meant to experience while we're here, that when I become true to it, everything shows up, or I'm able to recognize it and receive what is needed.
Yeah. I think it just occurred. Are you pretty introverted?
Yes.
Do you think of yourself as okay? Because I'm like giggling right now that our extrovert is not here today. That's Rev Skip. But the two of us, I am extremely introverted. And so I remember like I just kept taking the classes because Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder and director of Agape International Spiritual Center, who is, our mentor and teacher, I just wanted to be like learn from him. So I just kept taking classes, and that's how I ended up in ministerial school. Like there just weren't any more classes. So I was like, all right, I just need to keep being around. And then he started putting me on the stage and telling me to speak. And I am like so introverted. And so that was like that there wasn't a leisurely preparation for the yes, although I had been cultivating. So when I say, the leisurely preparation, that's actually our daily spiritual practice. So big plug for having some kind of daily spiritual practice that keeps our nervous system soothed, the emotional system regulated, that keeps us in tune with and connected with spirit for sure. But that's such an example each time, like even if it was putting me as the head of a ministry, like there were huge ministries, hundreds of people, and he'd be like, I want you to be the director of sacred service or global works, and I was horrified. But then like it's not that it just happens, because there was a ton of effort and education that was part of it, but it's like if it comes to you, it is for you. And so I think that's what we're speaking today is, just wanting to give everybody that bolstering courage that if it comes to you, it is for you, and to get those daily skills in place so you've got something that holds you up. Because earlier in my life, I would have opportunities, but I didn't have the internal infrastructure. So I might have like a little bit of a moment and then it would collapse. And so we're talking about like sustainable yeses, right?
And I love that you're saying that, because one of the things that I believe is that our higher self is very grace filled. And so it never brings anything in front of us that we are not ready for. I think that it kind of handles us with that level of grace, the boots on the ground version of itself. So in moments where there may be fear, if we could just for like a moment or a fraction of a second turn to that truth or that awareness of this would not be showing up if I didn't have what it takes, right, to be able to do it.
And then finding what little tools or tricks work for you. Because one of them is, as you mentioned earlier, you could call it fear, but you can also call it excitement. Excitement is the flip side of fear. So sometimes when I'm really scared, I'll say, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and then that kind of catches on. Or something that Reverend Kathleen McNamara said to me years ago when I had a concern about my child. He's in the other room. But when I had a worry about him, she said, I trust his life. His life is for him. And that has become my mantra, not just for my own child, but for myself when things are going on. And so I know we're going to cut to a commercial break in a moment, but maybe as we go to this commercial break, you can take a moment and think in your own life, what's the yes that's knocking at your door? And then I believe when we come back, Reverend Cynthia has this process. It has to do with our 10th chakra. I don't know that many people have heard of the 10th chakra, but it's a way to help us be able to access our yes in a sustainable way. So it's a yes that's got legs and foundation. Is that good?
That is good. So we will see you right after this commercial break.
Awesome.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Cynthia, Rev Julie, and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
So welcome back,
Yay.
everyone.
I'm having it's not a bad hair day. I just put conditioner in my hair and I haven't gotten it all out. So, okay. Hopefully people are just listening. Now they're all going to go to the video. Okay. Please tell us about this 10th chakra thing and how it works.
So most people are aware that we have 7 chakras within the body, but did you know that above our head, we have 2 chakras? We have 8 and 9 that are above. So 8 is your life purpose, 9 is your soul purpose. And then 2 feet beneath you, whether you're standing, whether you're laying down, whether you're sitting, it's always 2 feet beneath you. There's chakra 10. Now, chakra 10 has everything that you need to awaken to your Christ consciousness, to fulfill your destiny, and you have everything that you need in there to fulfill your legacy as well. So there is a breath work that's called the Central Channel Breath, and it's taught by Dr. Sue Morter in her work of the energy codes, and it's an embodiment breath. She also teaches a lot about the chakra system. But think of chakra 10 as like a 40-foot circle that is beneath you. And if this is your body, this is chakra 10, and it just follows you around everywhere that you go. And anytime that you're going to step into doing something new and you're not feeling quite settled, if you would take a deep breath, and we can do this together. So let's take a deep inhale in through your nose. And then exhale and visualize the breath going all the way down 2 feet beneath you. And now breathe up from 2 feet beneath you into your heart or your belly. And exhale through your crown. And then you're going to breathe in from above your head into your belly through your nose. And then drop the breath to chakra 10, 2 feet beneath you. And one more time, draw everything up that you need in this moment or any moment in the future, whether you're going to have a difficult conversation with someone, whether you're going to step into something new that you've never attempted, drop into chakra 10, open up those suitcases where you packed everything you were going to need to successfully fulfill your destiny, your legacy, and awaken to your fullest potential. Now breathe up from chakra 10 into your core. And then exhale through the crown into the heavens. Receive all of the guidance, the support that pours into you from the heavens. Bring it all into this body. And exhale one more time down into chakra 10. And now opening your eyes. And then you should feel very settled, very strong, very grounded.
Yeah. That was
So
beautiful.
So that is what I did. When Reverend Michael asked me to speak, which he's known, like you said, he's known to call on you like with very little time to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the things I love about Agape, is that it prepares you to be able to show up this way, very impromptu, very spontaneously. And to me, it's a wonderful preparation for the rest of your life when you're able to do that.
I want to be a testimonial for this 10th chakra practice, which also I'm really into Qigong, and this reminds me of the central meridian.
Yes.
So I'm kind of resonating with it in that way, and that it goes through the like upper dantian, which is our brain, our thinking center, through this middle dantian, which is our loving center, and through the lower dantian below the belly button, which is the center of vitality, and it goes above and below. And so it creates that kind of real centering. And I am a testimonial for your 10th chakra breath work, because I was at an event one year, and there were many speakers, one after another. And you got up on stage and you spoke, and immediately it was different. Like you were, and everybody was, it was very short periods of time. And there was something very different about you, extraordinarily compelling. And like, I wanted to hear you for the full 2 hours. Like I was, and the people that I were with felt the same way. So what we were receiving was energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because you were plugged in, right?
Yes, exactly. I felt like the spirit or the energy of my own higher self and the presence of God was pouring through this vessel. And because it was connected at both ends, I was able to stand up straight.
Yeah, but that's such a testament to how magnetic it is. And I know for those listening, you have these moments where when you're really plugged in, and like what works for you. Because for me, I could be, on a mountain, I could be hiking a mountain and feel like in my power. I feel like, Amazon woman or something. Or it could be, for somebody when they're painting or singing or dancing or cooking or sculpting, or like, what is it that's your ticket in that works for you? And do these breath works, just doing that guided visual practice for a few seconds. Could you feel yourself like, oof, wow, there's really something here for me? Because these are the doable tools and practices. Like these are the things that when we do them, it shifts everything, right? And it's about like, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith speaks about like you wouldn't leave the house without taking a shower or, brushing your teeth, we hope. But it's also like doing that inner shower. So before somebody goes to an important meeting or on a date or getting together with somebody or going to work or whatever it is, what are the practices? What are the things that you know to do that help you plug in? Like I want to plug into source before I do anything else. And at the top of this hour, I know we're going to be closing out in a little bit, but at the top of this hour, I hadn't plugged in yet. I've had a really busy, like going thing. And so even taking those moments right at the start to breathe and to remember I am always at one with source, pure source energy, God, by whatever name you call it. I'm always aligned. It's that practice that we just did, breathing in through that 10th chakra, 2 feet below us, breathing it all the way up above our heads, feeling like I'm plugged into something. I'm not just floating in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt when I was doing your breath work.
And it's instantaneous, like you said. And we are vessels, right? This body is an instrument for the energy that we are.
Right.
And just kind of like, what does this energy want to reveal now at this stage of your life? What is it wanting to create or to express? And will you give it permission? Will you give it your yes?
I love that. Should we do like a little thing with that? Should we do a little like take a minute and um, if you have never done the life visioning process before, it is a spiritual technology that Michael Bernard Beckwith created, and it's a way for us to not visualize what we want, but to get a hit, a feeling tone of what is God's greatest idea of itself as your very life. And if the word God is not your thing, plug in whatever word works. It could be love, beauty. It could be nature. It could be higher consciousness. Whatever the word is that works for you, that power, that source that is, that lights the stars in the sky, whatever that source is, plug it in. I'm probably going to use the word God, but definitely don't let that be your opt out, because there's an opportunity here. So we're going to do this life visioning process right now. And it's an opportunity not to visualize what you think you want. So it's not like, I want a red Maserati. Instead, it's like, I'm here, I'm in this life. What is God's greatest idea of itself as my very life? And so if you feel like playing and you are not driving or operating equipment, I'm going to invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment. Take a nice, easy breath in, breathing in full and deep and easy and relaxed. And on the exhale, once again, we'll finish how we started. Exhale and release something that does not serve you. Any stress or any worries, any anxiety, just let it go. It's not going to be beneficial to be thinking about it right now anyway. So just let it go for this moment or forever. And let yourself flood up with gratitude. What are you so grateful for? Let yourself become a fountain of gratitude right now. We're working in frequency. We attract at the level of our energetic frequency. So even if you're in a moment where you're feeling like, I have nothing to be grateful for, I get it. We've all been there. But, think of something. What could you be grateful for? We've got this technology. You have access to a moment, to an opportunity. There's an opportunity here to recenter. There's an opportunity to get a glimpse of what there is for you to be grateful for. And that gratitude grows. So take this moment and become a fountain. Like, see how many things you can become grateful for, that there's breath to breathe. If you had food today, if you had water today, if you had shelter today, be so grateful. There are so many on our planet that are lacking those things. If you have any of them, be so grateful. Be so grateful that you have technology to be here, to receive support and nurturance and love, to be well held in this moment as you are right now. Become grateful and what is it that fills you with gratitude? It could be a child's giggle. It could be a flower. It could be a sunrise or a sunset. It could be a warm breeze caressing your cheek. What are you grateful for? The shine of the moon, starlight cascading on an ocean or a lake or a pond or a river. What are you grateful for? And from this place of gratitude, become open and available. What is God's greatest idea of itself as your very life? And just notice, maybe get a feeling tone. And Rev Cynthia, I'm going to go through one round of this. And if you feel like it, I'll invite you. If you want to do the next round, you can do the next round. Okay.
Okay.
So once again, becoming open and available. What is God's greatest idea of itself as your very life? And we all receive guidance in different ways. You may get images, sounds, feeling tone, direct knowing, words, pictures, symbols. You may feel like I'm getting nothing. That's fine. If you were to get something, what might there be? You might feel like you're making it up. The part of you making it up is the subconscious mind. It functions with volition. It gives you exactly what you need. Becoming open and available. What is God's greatest idea of itself as your very life? And because it would not come to you if it were not for you, get a hit, get a feeling tone. What's already in place? What gifts, skills, talents, abilities, willingness are already in place to support you in becoming the fullest possible iteration of yourself in this lifetime? What do you already have? What gifts, skills, talents, abilities, willingness, contacts, resources? What's already there? And now notice if there were something that it would be very beneficial for you to release or let go of in order that you might be able to really fully step into your full purpose in this lifetime. Is there something that's got to go? You know, like, I don't know. Are there ways of pettiness or jealousies or angers or resentments or lack of forgiveness or, self-doubt? Or is there anything that's just tired? Like, been doing this too long. It's not helping. It's hindering. What is it? If there is anything that it's time to just lay down, let it take a nap, give it a rest, that you might fully rise into that highest iteration of yourself. If there were something, what might it be? And as I said earlier, we know. And one more time, becoming open and available. What is God's greatest idea of itself as your life? Not visualizing what you think you want, but if you were to just crack your heart wide open and allow God, source, nature, higher consciousness, love, beauty to have full sway, accessing the totality of you. What's the greatest? Not the practical, not the realistic necessarily. What is the greatest, God's greatest idea of itself as your life? The most contributing, the most fulfilling. And then, Rev Cynthia, do you feel like doing a round? Do you feel like guiding a round? Yeah, just taking it through another round. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So continue with your eyes closed as we continue in this vibratory field of infinite possibilities, of all things are possible, of heart desires being fulfilled, of all needs being met, of everything unfolding with ease and grace. We ask, what is God's highest vision for my life? What does it want to experience through me? Are you able to feel it or sense it in your body? Is there an image that comes to your mind's eye? How does your biology shift as you are being present with this vision, this possibility? And so the next question is, what must I become for this vision to unfold? knowing that we already are the thing. And maybe there are ways of believing, of thinking, of being that are ready to be released so that we can step fully into the next version of ourselves, the next iteration. What am I willing to become for this vision to fulfill itself? As we become available to the newness, there is always something to be released. It might be our inner dialogue, the way that we talk to ourselves. What are we ready to let go of? Perhaps something may have been appropriate for us a year ago, where we were at the time, but as we grow and unfold, it may no longer be appropriate. It may no longer serve. So we can bless everything for its support and its assistance and release it with ease and grace. What are we ready to release? And this last question, what gifts and talents do I already possess? Our teacher, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, said during a talk many years ago, you are not just here for the experiences. You are here to share your gifts. And you don't want to leave here with your gifts still within you. You want to set them free. What are these gifts? What are the talents that want to be expressed and shared? And so as we bring this particular session to a close, know that the vision has everything within itself to fulfill itself. And we enter into a beautiful dance as we listen to the guidance, pay attention to the signs of when to take action and when to be still. But knowing that the vision, it will reveal itself moment by moment, breath by breath. And so we remain available to it. And so I simply give thanks for this beautiful process, for becoming available to the vision, the highest vision Spirit has for our lives, to know that we need not settle for anything less other than our ability to express our magnificence, our divinity, our light, and our love in whatever beautiful way it wants to do that through each of us. And to know that all of this gets to occur and unfold within a grace and a love and the very presence of God itself.
Yes.
And so I am grateful and thankful.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. And thank you so much for joining us for the High Vibe Hour. I hope you feel more rooted in yourself, more connected with life and with yourself. Rev Skip will be back with us next Friday. And as we get ready to close out, I invite you to become aware, what insight, what is something that you have gained or remembered that you will be departing this time together with today? Like what's something, and if there's, if anything came to you that's yours to release or let go of, you know, maybe become aware, like how will you stay on track with that? One of the things that I'm going to be doing is focusing more on what I do desire as opposed to what I do not desire. If I have a negative thought, I flip it and I have a positive thought, like I do a positive thought 3 times. So that's just a little tool I've been working with. But I invite you, as we close out, to think of what is your insight? What have you received? And let yourself come up with something. We were together. Let yourself receive something and have that. Do you have any closing thoughts on that, Rev?
I do. Like an insight that I got in the past, I've heard people that I admire say that they get more energy as they do what they came here to do.
Yes.
And this has been one of those experiences for me.
Yay. Yeah. Yeah. So as we move on from today, it's like, what are the things you do that gives you that flow state where, you know, hours pass like minutes. It may be a lot of energy or effort, but it's like delicious. It's compelling. And so I definitely feel that way as well. We loved being with you all today for the High Vibe Hour. Big shout out to Rev Skip Jennings. We look forward to being back with him next week. And anything else?
No, I think that's it. We will see you next week.
Okay. Many blessings to you.